How you doing, guys? I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Okay, our next lesson is we're gonna find angles of depression and elevation using trigonometry. So it's pretty much an extension of what we did the last time. Okay. All right. So first, I'm gonna do a couple examples for you real quick. Okay. First one from the assignment is a kite with a string of 150 feet long makes an angle of 45 degrees with the ground. Okay. Assuming the string is straight, how high is the kite? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at this diagram right here. Okay, so there's your angle, 45 degrees is the given angle. Okay, so that's our angle we're working with. And then we're gonna look at the sides that are involved, okay? So in relation to the angle that is given, all right, I'm looking for the side opposite. So I'm gonna go ahead and write O here, right next to the X, over the hypotenuse, okay, which is 150 feet. Okay, so we know from the last week that sine is the ratio that we use for opposite over hypotenuse. So my equation, I'm gonna go ahead and write the sine of 45 degrees should equal to the side opposite, the 45, in this case is X, over 150 feet. Okay, so there's our equation. All right, now we're going to use algebra. Once we use algebra and we isolate the X, we find the X, that should give us the length of the string. Okay, so obviously you're dividing 150, X by 150. So what's the inverse of division? Multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 150 to both sides of the equation. All right, that'll cancel out the 150 here, and that'll leave X by itself. So on my calculator, again, everybody's got a different calculator. You're gonna go ahead and input the sine key right there in parentheses of 45, close parentheses, and I'm gonna go ahead and press enter because I like to find the sine first. All right, so there's your sine of 45. Then I'm gonna multiply by 150, and there's my answer, okay? Now there's no instructions, so I'm rounding off, okay? So my answer right here reads 106.06. I'm gonna go ahead and round off to the nearest tenths place. So my final answer should be 106.1. And we're looking at feet as being our units. So I'll go ahead and box it in, okay? All right, so that's problem number one. That's example number one, so you guys can look at it, okay? Now, number two, I'm gonna work out number two with you guys because now we're looking for an angle, okay? Now, before I start number two, I'm gonna talk to you about angles of elevation and depression. For problem number one, as you can see, 45 degrees is an angle of elevation, all right? This is your line of sight right here, this line that's here. And if I'm here and I'm looking at the kite, all right, the angle that is being formed by my line of sight and the kite, I'm making an angle of elevation, okay? All right, so now the next one, problem number two, if I look at the diagram right here, they want us to find the angle of elevation also, since there's your line of sight and the top of the tree. All right, both together form the angle of elevation, okay? All right, now I'll show you an example of angle of depression real quickly before I move on to problem number two, okay? Right here in this example, there's a plane right here, and if I'm inside the plane and I'm looking down at the tower, all right, there's my line of sight right here, and if I'm looking down, the angle being formed with the line of sight and the height of the tower, all right, see how I'm looking down? That angle is called the angle of depression, okay? So now you know the difference between both. So going back to number two, okay, reading the problem real quickly. A tree 10 meters high casts a 17.3 meter shadow. Okay, there's your shadow, there's your eye, there's your sun, okay? All right, find the angle of elevation. So they want us to find the angle of elevation, which is represented by X. So that's the given angle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at the sides, all right? the side lengths that are involved. In this case, in relation to the angle I'm looking for, the height of the tree is the opposite side, so I'm gonna label it O. And the shadow is adjacent to the given angle, which is my adjacent side. So I'm gonna label it A. So now I know with my experience that opposite over adjacent is the tangent ratio. So my equation is gonna be written as the tangent of the angle, in this case it's X, is equal to the opposite side, in this case it's 10 because it's the height of the tree, over the shadow, which is the adjacent side, in this case is 17.3. So most importantly, there's our equation. Now here, I know I need to find X, the angle. So we did this last week. Okay, what is tan? How do we work this out? Well, we multiply the inverse tan. Okay, why we do that? Why do we do that? Because that'll eliminate or cancel out our tan. So whatever I do on the left, now I must do on the right. Okay, so it's the inverse tan of 10 over 17.3. And if you notice, I enclosed it in parentheses. So this is what I'm gonna input into my calculator, okay? And again, once you find your answer, you're gonna go ahead and put into your calculator, okay? So I'm gonna go second tan. When I go second tan, that'll give me my inverse tan. I don't know if you can see it or not from there. Okay, and then it's already got the parentheses for you, so I'm gonna go 10 over 17.3, close the parentheses, enter, and there's your angle. Okay, in this case, 30.02. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna round out to the nearest degree. In this case, I look at this 0, which is the tenths place. Is it 5 or greater? No, so my answer stays as 30 degrees. And go ahead and make sure that you put the degree symbol. Box it in, and you're done.